Ways to build trust in a new relationship or connection. My name's Clayton Olson, and I have been a relationship coach for 12 years now, helping people work on the deeper drivers underneath their most painful experiences in relationship and in love, and help them rewrite those so they can begin to create a life they love and love that lasts. This video is incredibly important because if we don't have trust, and we don't know how to build trust and move into secure connection with people, secure attachment, then our relationships are going to suffer. We're going to be in a place where we don't have a solid foundation to build from, and that just is not going to work for creating long-lasting love. The aim of this video is to give you 5 subtle ways of creating trust in a relationship, things you might be missing right now, ways you might be getting caught into other unconscious tendencies, habits that you do that actually erode trust, and help you have a more aligned way of approaching dating so that you are not abandoning yourself in the process and you're able to create something from authenticity and be loved for who you are. So these are 5 practices that I consistently share with my clients that help them not only build trust with others, but help them build trust with themselves when they go out into the world and begin to build a new connection with somebody. Maybe you're coming out of a divorce, maybe you're coming out of a heartbreak, and you're getting back out there and just wondering, how do I do this? Some of the common problems people have is they find dating and new relationships, new connections exhausting because there is a way in which we are either performing or pleasing or not really being connected to ourselves, ways in which we are subtly abandoning ourselves that actually take away our power and our energy. So if you've been finding this journey exhausting or you're tired of dating, maybe it's not what's happening out there in the dating world. Maybe it's a way that you are relating to yourself as you're dating. And I say that not to put blame on you. I say that because maybe there's more power you have than you think to be able to create an experience of going out there and creating love that is more in your hands and more in your agency than you've been giving yourself credit for. So let's dive into the first one. The first one is show what's real, not what's impressive. We have a tendency, like I was saying, to move into either pleasing or performing, or sometimes protecting ourselves as we go out there. We've been hurt in the past, or there's a way in which we don't want to get rejected. So dating starts to turn into this performance. You start to operate under the belief that I need to earn attraction, approval, love, and we move away from our authenticity. When we go into pleasing, when we're avoiding conflict, when we're avoiding speaking truth, when we are trying to get the other person's approval, we create a rift between who we are and how we're presenting ourselves, which naturally creates insecurity in ourselves. Insecurity is a lack of trust. If you have a lack of trust within you that's being generated while you're out there dating, other people are going to feel it as well, and it will show up as a lack of trust in the field between you. The key thing here is if you're trying to manage their impression of you, trying to get their approval, trying to wonder whether or not they like you, you are abandoning yourself. You are abandoning who you are because there's a way in which you might be outcome attached, which can often have you distort how you show up, which again creates a lack of authenticity. And if the goal is to be loved for who you are, we need to be tracking that and sidestepping those maybe natural inherent patterns that we have. I've got a video on people pleasing that goes into overcompensation and way of functioning in more detail. I'll link that in the description below. Number 2, say no when you mean no. Your boundaries are clarity. Your boundaries are what define you as a person, as a personality. And the more you are comfortable saying no and seeing that it's actually a contribution to people getting more clear on who you are, they can begin to trust where they stand with you. And you can also begin to trust that you can honor yourself while you're in the relationship with them. So it's 2 birds in 1 stone. They trust you more, you trust you more. And remember, I've heard some prolific authors say this. If you can't say no, no one can trust your yes. If you can't say no, then you don't actually have access to a yes, because your yes could be a compromise. Your yes might be, oh, I'm saying yes because I feel obligated. And what ends up happening is the person with you, if they can feel that, if you're off kilter and they can feel that there's a conflict within you and you're just compromising yourself, it makes the other person nervous because they're not going to know whether they can rely on you, whether there is resentment building underneath the surface. It's very hard to respect as well. Shape-shifting might help you avoid uncomfortable feelings. If we don't say no, we shape-shift into what they want. But those uncomfortable feelings are the gateway to trust. So being able to sit in discomfort when you're a no and the person wants you to be a yes, that's where real intimacy begins. The third way to build trust is to trust pacing of what wants to emerge between the two of you rather than trying to force it. If you have an anxious attachment style, to try to rush through the getting to know you phase and create security because we start to feel really off kilter or nervous or anxious. And the key is when we're trying to rush something, when we're rushing vulnerability, oversharing, not allowing mystery, it becomes untrustworthy. The questions you ask, things you share about yourself, trying to get too much out of them too quickly, start to feel like control rather than curiosity. Whenever anybody feels controlled or the connection starts to feel like it's being controlled, that will create a distance. That will create a lack of trust because there's a way in which you are not trusting the natural emergence of the connection. The balance here is to look for ways in which you can honor both mystery and not withhold. So how can you be fully present with the person in front of you and notice in your body what wants to be shared right now versus what should I share? Rather than having a checklist of what you want to talk about or questions you want to ask, how can you be completely present and trust that actually getting to know somebody is going to take some time, and it's a beautiful thing that it takes time. It's like psychological foreplay. Take things slow, build attraction, and they show and demonstrate that you're balanced, that you're staying connected to you, and that you're also not trying to force something if it's not a fit. This creates more trust between both of you. The fourth way to build trust in a new connection is to keep the small promises you make, which means show up with integrity. It means so much because when you say you're going to do something, you do it. If you say you're going to call them at a certain time or a certain day and you don't, or you say you're going to text or you say you're going to do something and then you renege on that, and you don't clean it up, what ends up happening is even if it's just something small, it ends up being death by 1,000 paper cuts. These little things, especially in the beginning of a new connection, really register as untrustworthy in the other person's nervous system. There's not enough safety, not enough rapport built to where the connection can hold these micro fractures of integrity in the relationship. So be a person of your word. Say you're going to do something, do it at that time. If you don't, clean it up, apologize, acknowledge it, see if there's any impact that it caused. What this does is it helps the other person realize that, hey, you're aware of the connection. There's a way in which what you say happens. And if you say it and it doesn't happen, you're aware of it and you're willing to be in the uncomfortable conversation about it. Don't say anything that you know is a lie, even a white lie, or even if it's just hyperbole, right? Oftentimes we exaggerate things that are happening in our life because maybe we want that person's attention or reaction, breeding insecurity because the thing that we say, the way that we're showing up, curating a story about who we are is different than who we really know ourselves to be. Within that gap, we create room for insecurity, which again is a lack of self-trust. So you will be then creating the question within you, do they really like me for me or for who I'm presenting myself to be? Notice how can you continue to come back into deeper alignment with who you are, avoid the exaggeration, and show up with deep integrity to self and the connection. And then finally, the fifth way to create trust in a relationship is to track the other person and be present. How are you listening when they are speaking? Are you doing something called reloading, where you're just waiting for your turn to speak? Or can you sit and listen from a space of nothing? Can you listen from emptiness? Really understand what's going on in their life. Ask questions that get into the deeper motivations. Be comfortable with the space. Allow that person to find themselves more in the conversation through you, not through you sharing or talking too much about yourself, because that falls into being performative again, but being able to create a container in which real intimacy can occur, where that person might become more intimate with themselves through being in your presence. This creates trust. So notice, how am I showing up? Am I showing up with curiosity? Or as they're speaking, I'm waiting to demonstrate something about me? Am I interrupting them? Am I asking follow-up questions? These create trust, because when someone knows you care, when someone knows you've been listening and you've been tracking what they're saying, their nervous system can calm down because you demonstrate that you care about the connection. You care about the things that they are saying to you. And there's ways in which you are categorizing those in your mind and you're paying attention. And somebody who is present is far more trustworthy than someone who is not. The thing that ties all of these together about creating trust in a relationship is look for the ways in which you are betraying yourself while you are dating, while you're creating a new connection. Look for the ways you are not being true to you. Are you staying in situations too long? Faking curiosity when that person's talking? Are you giving yourself permission to be able to shift the conversation if something's not fascinating, and allowing yourself to say, hey, for the health of the connection, I want to make sure we're not talking about this person's work the entire time. I'm going to give myself permission to direct the conversation into something that would bring me more alive and them more alive, taking ownership of the connection. That is trustworthy behavior. That is relational leadership. So as you look back at all of these, look for places where you're divorcing yourself, abandoning your own voice, abandoning your presence, abandoning your authenticity to try to get an end result. And as you become aware of these and come back into alignment, you will naturally become a more trustworthy person who is able to create more trustworthy connections that last in your life. If this message resonated, I'd love to give you a free gift. It's called the 5 Secrets to Creating Extraordinary Love. This is a distillation of a lot of the work that I've done with clients, and it is in a PDF. You can get it right on my website. I will link to that below the description. And again, subscribe to the channel if this message resonated, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.